Hi there, I'm Lisa from Mythical Witchery. Welcome to my channel, and if you've been here before, welcome back. Well, it is Tarot Tube Tuesday again, and I am doing a video response or a VR to Benny from The Fool's Apprentice. This is Tarot Time Capsule. The premise of this hashtag is, what 10 decks would you choose to put in a time capsule for future generations to find? So I've combed through all my decks and thoughtfully chosen ones that I thought would be appropriate to put in a time capsule. We'll start with the first one, which is of course the original Rwe Smith. Now this particular deck is produced by Debris. I really like this deck because it's a really nice quality. The colors are beautiful, and it's linen. If you watch my channel, you know how I feel about linen decks. I love them. I find them so easy to shuffle. So this, of course, stays true to the original Rwe Smith as illustrated by Pamela Colman Smith. The colors are quite similar. They may not be exactly the same, but they're pretty close. I think this is an excellent quality version of this deck. And of course, being the Rwe Smith, this needs to be in the time capsule, because no matter what other decks you choose, I think it's important to have the original Rwe Smith. Now I have chosen not to include decks such as the Thoth or Marseille decks strictly because I don't use them that much. In fact, very little. To me, it's mostly the Rwe Smith decks that I use. So that's why I've chosen not to include those. The next deck in my list is the Cat Tarot. Now, why have I chosen this deck? I chose it because this deck makes me so happy. This is a fun deck, and I would hope that this would show future generations that the tarot doesn't have to be all serious all the time, that you can still have fun with it, that you can do something interesting with it and really different. So this is produced by Chronicle Books. Comes with a nice little guidebook. And these are the cards. So this does follow the Rwe Smith system. However, obviously this is about cats. And one thing I really love about this cat deck is that it shows cats being cats. You know, they're not cats doing human things, they're cats doing cat things. And there's nothing wrong with decks that cats do human things. Being a cat lover, I love seeing a deck that the cats are behaving like cats and yet still somehow fit into that very human-focused Rwe Smith that we're all used to. So this would definitely make it into the time capsule as far as I'm concerned. Love this deck. So much fun. Makes me smile every time I use it. This is one of my go-to decks when I need to lift myself up a little bit. If I'm feeling down or I need a smile, this is often the deck that I will choose just because it makes me really happy to look at these cards. So that is the Cat Tarot, and that is definitely going in my time capsule. The next deck that I would choose to put in my time capsule is the Gentle Tarot. Now this is the smaller sized linen edition, so it's easier to shuffle and really ideal for people who have arthritis like me. This is a linen deck as well. So again, you get that very easy to shuffle. Why did I choose this deck? I think it's important for future generations to know that the tarot can be a tool for self-love, for self-care, that we can use the tarot and find within it acceptance of ourselves exactly as we are. And I think this deck accomplishes that really, really beautifully. Sometimes we just need to give ourselves a little love, a little extra care. And this deck is perfect for that. So in my mind, this belongs in the time capsule. At least it belongs in my time capsule. Such a beautiful deck. So this is the Gentle Tarot. This is an indie deck. And you can purchase it directly from the designers. Murray in the Sky is the name of their company. And that is thegentletarot.com. The next deck that I would choose to put in my Tarot Time Capsule is the Wisdom of Pooh Tarot. This is by Rwe, and it's another indie deck that came out in Kickstarter last year, and I just received this a couple of days ago. It is a beautiful, beautiful deck. So why did I choose this? Well, a number of reasons. First of all, this deck makes me think of my childhood. When I was a little girl, I loved Winnie the Pooh. Absolutely loved Winnie the Pooh. So to me, this deck represents childhood. And it also is representative of literature, because I think that future generations, it's important that they can see literature from our time. Or in this case, a little before my time. I think this is just such a lovely deck. It's gentle, it's beautiful, it's true to the original Winnie the Pooh. And I just love it. I love it. There's something about Winnie the Pooh that just makes you feel so accepted and loved and seen. This is a linen deck, as you might be able to hear from the sounds of how the cards move across each other. Very, very easy to shuffle and just lovely to use. Love this deck. And I think this would be a perfect addition to a Tarot Time Capsule. So that is the Wisdom of Pooh Tarot. The next deck that I would put in my Tarot Time Capsule is the Theodore Pavlov Tarot. Now this was originally an indie deck, but it has been picked up by the mass market. This version is by US Games. It comes with this really beautiful hardcover, perfect bound book. It is in color, and there's an amazing amount of description in this book. It's really a super book. But this is where this deck shines, is in the cards. Lovely gilding. These are the backs. And this is also a linen deck. You're probably seeing a bit of a theme here. Not all of the decks I've chosen are linen. But let me tell you, if I have a choice between two decks that are similar, and one of them is linen, that will usually push it over the top. So why did I choose this deck? I chose this deck because it shows diversity. It shows diversity in age, in body type, in sexual orientation, in sexuality. And I think that's an important thing Does every single deck need to be diverse? I don't think every deck needs to be diverse. I'm awfully glad that I'm seeing a lot more decks that are diverse because we need them. We just need them. The more the better, as far as I'm concerned. But this deck does an incredible job of introducing all kinds of diversity, and that makes me really happy. And I think this is a really, not just an important addition, I think this is a vital addition to a Tarot Time Capsule. Not to mention the fact that this is just a really beautiful deck. The artwork is stunning. I really love it. And it's nice to work with too. So this is a deck that I would definitely put in my Tarot Time Capsule. Love the colors too. I think this is a visually beautiful, beautiful deck. And definitely deserves a place in my Tarot Time Capsule. The Theodore Pavlov Tarot. The next deck that I would include in my Tarot Time Capsule is the Tarot of Oneness. Now, this is another indie deck by Rwe. This is an 84 card deck, and it says this enables you to connect with your divine guidance and embrace oneness. And the reason why I chose this deck is because it gives a completely different perspective on the tarot than most other decks do. It comes with a really nice little book, full color, with good descriptions. These are the backs, really pretty. It's got this lovely sort of peach colored matte edging, which I really prefer a matte edging to a gilding because it doesn't chip the same way that gilding chips. So as you can see from looking at this, what you're seeing here is as if, well, this is a first person perspective deck. So it's as if you are looking into what you see in the card. So you become part of the card, which that's what tarot is in a way, isn't it? The hero's journey is about us and our journey through life. So to have a deck that can put us in that perspective, that first person perspective, where it's us looking in, I think that helps us, or at least it helps me, to really truly understand these cards, to be able to put myself into the card, to put myself into this position and imagine what it would be like, even if I haven't personally experienced something. Seeing this can help me. It's a visual, to help me understand how much I relate to this card. After my husband died, I spent many, many an hour looking out the window at the rain. And even if it wasn't raining inside, it certainly was raining. Or even if it wasn't raining outside, rather, it was certainly raining inside my soul. So yes, this is a beautiful deck. Really, really pretty. And I think it definitely deserves a place in a Tarot Time Capsule. Love this. You're riding on the back of a horse. Gorgeous deck. The lovely matte stock as well, and quite easy to shuffle. So it's nice to work with. And that is the Tarot of Oneness. The next deck that I would include in my Tarot Time Capsule is the Anima Munday Tarot. This is another indie deck. I promise there will be more mass market decks to come, but this one is really close to my heart. This is by Megan Werwidden. And once again, we have linen cardstock. This is the back. And it's got a lovely gilding on it. So this deck is all about the natural world. So it's filled with animals and nature. That's a rainforest. And I think it's important to, to document the living world as it exists today. Because, 100 years from now, 1,000 years from now, the world might look very different. And some of these animals and habitats may not exist any longer, which would be incredibly sad. But the purpose behind putting this in a time capsule would be to show a future generation the world that we lived in, the beautiful animals that existed, the beautiful habitats that existed. So that's why I would choose this deck. Look at this card. That Five of Cups. It is just incredible. I love that. This is also one of my all-time favorite decks. I really love it. In fact, I've shown it on my channel numerous times in different hashtag videos and collection videos as well. And probably will again many, many times because it's just a lovely, lovely deck. So this is the Anima Munday Tarot. The next deck that I would put in my Tarot Time Capsule is the Terra Volatile. This is, again, another indie deck. And it is really, really beautiful. It's another linen deck. My apologies if you're getting bored. I know there are people that don't like linen decks, but I do. These are the backs. This deck is, well, it's amazing. It's really deep, really deep. This is the kind of deck that I think you could study this for years and continue to get a lot out of it. You can get a big companion book that goes with this, which I have. The deck also comes with many alternative cards, and you can get expansion packs as well. So you can really customize this deck and make it a deck that represents you. There's a fair bit of diversity in this deck. It has more of a masculine feel to it, which is really nice because a lot of decks have a very, very feminine feel. So this one feels more balanced to me, which I think is important. So those are important things, I think, and that's why I chose to include this deck in my Tarot Time Capsule. So once again, this is the Terra Volatile, and this is definitely going in my time capsule. The next deck that I would put in my Tarot Time Capsule is the Way of the Panda Tarot. This is another indie deck by Kimberly San, and it is really lovely. This is the little book. And these are the cards. These are the backs. And it has this beautiful green edging. So why have I chosen this deck? Well, this deck is really sweet. Some of the cards are quite humorous. They're cute. I love the fact that the backgrounds are white, and so it really makes the images stand out. This deck makes, to me, this is a hug deck. This is a deck that I go to when I need a hug. I have actually quite a few hug decks, but this is near the top of my list. I really love this. I get a lot out of this deck. You know, the images they're fairly simple. but they really speak to my soul, if that makes sense. Maybe it doesn't make sense. It makes sense to me. I love it. Really love it. And this is one that I think, not only that, but I love, well, I mean, there's a pretty good chance that pandas may not be around, in the future. So this would give future generations a chance to see an animal that is really beloved. And one that I wish we had done more to protect. So this is the Way of the Panda Tarot, and this is the 9th deck that is going into my Tarot Time Capsule. The final deck that is going into my Tarot Time Capsule is the Tarot of the Divine, and this is by Yoshitani, and this is a mass market deck. Now this deck is really special. This is inspired by deities, folklore, and fairy tales from around the world. And that is why I chose this deck, because this shows a history of our entire world, a history of things, of stories that we tell each other, stories that we've told, and from cultures all over the world. And I think that's really important. This could possibly be the most important deck, other than possibly the original Rwe Smith, that I'm including in this time capsule. Those backs, are they beautiful? This is another linen deck. Apologies if you don't like linen. So this is just, it is so beautiful. And every single card in this deck has a story, comes from a deity, from some culture in the world, comes from a fairy tale or folklore from all over our beautiful planet. And I think that's a really precious gift to share with future generations, because it's our stories that make us who we are. It's our stories that define us. And as long as our stories exist, then we exist. It's only when we stop telling our stories that we cease to exist. I know that sounds very philosophical, maybe a little too deep for a VR, but that's why I would choose this deck. Aside from the fact that it is a visually beautiful deck. And really, really nice to work with. So that is the final deck that I would put in a Tarot Time Capsule. I want to thank Benny from The Fool's Apprentice for creating a really fun hashtag that is very thought-provoking. When you have to think about what would I like to give a future generation, give people who have no clue who I am, who will really have no true understanding of the world that I live in. It really makes you think. Really makes you think. What do we want them to know? What's important to us that we would like them to be aware of? So this hashtag to me is not just a fun hashtag. This is an important hashtag. And I really appreciate that Benny decided to do this. And it was a real honor to be able to do this tag. I hope that you enjoyed it. I hope that other creators decide to do a video response as well. I'm really interested in seeing what other people choose to put in their time capsules because, of course, we're all quite different, aren't we? So thank you so much for joining me today for another episode of Tarot Tube Tuesday. It was lovely to spend some time with you, and I really appreciate that you choose to spend your precious time with me. Until next time, may love and laughter light your days. Bye for now.